I think I don't say this enough, but please subscribe to the channel, like this video, helps YouTube to push my content to more people, make more content. Enjoy the video. Yo, what's up guys? Update on the beginner account or the OSDT, the Obtainable Speed Dungeon Teams. This is actually the first team that I will showcase for the Obtainable Speed Dungeon Teams, which is a 9-day, 1 minute 16 average. It runs about like 1 minute 20 average, and it is 100%. It didn't fail a single time. It is a very solid run for 9 days. I have seen some other options from someone that posted something in the comments. From Sean B, for example, he's also doing beginner series. We'll talk a bit about their strategies and their things and their ideas behind that, because it's very interesting to see multiple people doing multiple different kind of things, showing that there's not just one route towards like progressing. There's multiple options. So it's cool to see that we're not exactly doing the same thing. I've been running this team, and you might be like, yo, Verd, that is hella weird for GB12. But the funny thing is, because you just cleared with Dot, Verd is just a safety net to outspeed these kind of side things, and therefore make it pretty easy to clear. Sure, you're not always gonna give like the perfect scenario where everything uses S2 and then you clear all of that pretty easily. But as you can see, I lab these crystals that many times that they have barely any chance of doing any skill, and that just makes it very safe and pretty solid. Also, Verd will always focus the side crystals, and therefore he will still gain his maximum attack bar. This stage never really goes long. It can take somewhat longer if you start getting stunned and shit, but you're not gonna lose on this stage. The stages you would lose on are these crystal wave stages. In which case, if you have a bunch of pushbackers, you have Verd boosting your stuff up, it's very unlikely that these things actually work. Sure, it would be faster if Verd actually was a unit doing some damage, aka illusion or something that actually clears this way faster. Will be a lot faster, but of course we don't have illusion yet. Well, we do have illusion, but it's not skilled up yet, and it doesn't really work all that well. In this case, if you do have Tattoo already, which I do right now, you want to set it on targeting the boss. If you're doing this with a different unit, I actually did it with Savannah, which is kind of cheating, but I know you do have other options, I guess, as long as you don't have Pixie yet. You could technically even do it with just the Magic Mike, because it's just all about pushing back and that kind of stuff, and killing at some point. At that point, you actually want to put the boss stage like this. So that means that the Verd will always start hitting the side crystals to get maximum amount of turns. You will get up to like 2-minute runs, but the moment you actually have the Fire Pixie, which is the second 2A that you make, Seth is the first one, it is pretty easy to run all of that good stuff. So let's dive into the runes for what I got for runes right now, how far the progression is, that kind of stuff. We'll also show you that we are not buying these, how many days we're in. It should show still 9 days, so we're 9 days in. We cleared TOA normal. I cleared TOA until 60. I didn't clear 60 yet because I only autoed TOA hard. That's the cool thing, that with this team, with Set and Tattoo and those kind of units, it is pretty easy to just auto as well. And as you can see, even if Verd would die on this stage, it doesn't really matter. It just makes things slightly faster. And I will be looking for the best free-to-play Verd replacement. I'm not sure if that's straight away illusion. Maybe I can find something else. I haven't thought about that yet, but maybe leave it in the comments if you have like any cool idea what you can do with this team. You could say, of course, Fran, but Fran doesn't speed up any. So something that would probably do some AoE damage, speed up the run a little bit, and that kind of stuff. So we're averaging like 120-ish, I would say. So that is faster than the team of Shambi, because he was averaging 130-ish after like 15 days. Yay, competing! No, I'm just joking, because actually his team that he made is pretty solid as the idea as well. But I'll talk about like his team in a second. Probably you've already seen this video, but let's look at the runes that I have on these units right now. I didn't do that much of rune farming as of yet. This is pretty much a set that you already get. The only thing, I think this rune is slightly different because I wanted to have some more accuracy on it. Preferably you have slightly more accuracy, if I'm not mistaken. You need 70 accuracy for this dungeon. Would have to double check. I'll leave that in the description. Check it right now. But yeah, you get these runes, you just get them straight off one of the achievements. And most of these runes you actually do get off the achievements. This one is slightly different. Then this one, you do get half of this blade set. And this one is also something that you get from it. This one and this one is something that I farmed. But, oh no, wait, this one not even. This one is one that I farmed. So this is barely anything special. So this is the only rune that I farmed myself. Then we use this one. You do actually have an achievement where you get a shield set. This one apparently rolled a 21, which makes it pretty nice. You do want to have at least one shield set for this, because the side crystals on wave 1, wave 3 will start doing some damage, and you want to have those things for it. Also for the runes, I think most of this is what I got automatically, and maybe I farmed like one of those. I think this one was maybe farmed. So, but then again, yeah, for this one, it actually does matter that, no, wait, did you get this one? I'm not sure. And for this one, it's also just survivability, enough stats, having some accuracy. Apparently got a triple roll on this one already. But the main thing I want to have these Melias, I want them to be Despair. Despair makes your run safer. Vile probably makes your run faster. But since I'm not doing any dragons, and I'm probably not going to switch to dragons anytime soon, because, same as I mentioned last time, why do you need to go to dragons in early game? For your Ikaru team. That's literally the only reason. You don't need Vio runes early. You don't need Revenge runes early. You don't need Focus runes early. You don't need Endure runes early. You only need Guard runes early game. So, I think I can get away with it, and that's something we will find out in the future. I think you don't really need to farm dragons to actually be able to farm dragons with an Ikaru team. You could say you have to go towards Necro. Necro might be interesting because you need the Rage runes, but Fatal runes are kind of the same thing. Oh yeah, this one I didn't show you. This actually has the one Vio set that you get like straight from the game, so this is also not farmed. And the reason I put this one on Vio is because I want this skill to be able to get off cold time faster. So it could do like an Ignite into an Incinerate, for example, or if it's stunned, it could proc out Incinerate. Anything like that. So the Melias are both Despair, and this thing is Vio, this thing is just Blade, and this thing is Swift. Reason that this thing is Swift, that these two put more dots if there's already a dot on it. I could make this team slightly more tanky by upping these runes, but they're not great runes, but I could totally do it. But as I said, like, why is Necro also not that interesting? You don't need Destroy runes. You don't need... What other runes do you get? Vampire runes. Rage runes are, of course, good. Will runes are, of course, good. But then again, for PvE, you don't really need Rage runes as well. Or, yeah, you don't need Rage runes because Fatal runes pretty much do the same thing, more or less. Plus, you get Blade from this dungeon. Will runes are good for R5, but I don't think Will runes are a must for R5. So, because of that, I just stay in Giants. Is this the perfect route to do your progression? Well, there's no good or bad in your route of progression. Jambi is going to progress towards like being able to clear all dungeons, clearing the Rift Beasts. He doesn't want to have Seth and Tatu because you don't use them anywhere else, except for SF10. But you're gonna have to build them for SF10 anyways, because that is literally the only chill team you can find. Like, even on my account, I'm still clearing SF10 with a Seth. Not with a Tatu, but with a Seth. And that is pretty exceptional because most people just clear it with Seth. So for that reason, you are going to have to get these units. So for me, I'm actually going to stick in Giants for quite a while and try to go from Giants straight to R4, R5. Does that mean R4 and R5 are less effective because I cannot get grinds for all of my runes, but only for specific runes? Yes, more or less. But we shall see how that works out, because you still get like some random runes here for either a labyrinth or you get them from like anything. So I can still use those grinds here and there. So next step is for this account is replacing the Vert, making this team faster. Will be replaced by Illusion at some point. Then it will transition into like an Ikaru kind of style with Crow for this dungeon. But I will be in Giants for quite a bit. And as you can see, this is like super easy clearing. You barely need any runes, anything like that. If you talk about progression, what other things that I do, I did put some effort into getting the Glory Towers up pretty fast. So I did max out one tower already, which is this one, which is by far the best free-to-play thing you get. This is actually something I totally forgot last time I was doing a beginning series, because you get so many crystals early game, you feel like, oh, I don't really need energy. But this is by far the best thing you can get for extra energy. Afterwards, I started focusing on the speed tower. You could say like, okay, we go straight into like defense tower. I actually prefer to go speed tower because speed tower helps you everywhere with clearing everything. Because a lot of the things that I do with my progression that I do is dots. The moment I outspeed the enemy more, I am able to put more dots, more CC, anything like that. So for that reason, I like to go for speed tower. I might actually transition from speed towers into damage towers and then see how far I can get illusion. But we shall see about that. Also, the Ikaru, like, because I don't really care about farming giants all too much or dragons all too much anytime soon. I also don't really care about getting Ikarus, like 3 of them set up that fast. So we shall see how that goes. Another thing which is very interesting is go for artifacts pretty early on. Like getting an artifact on any stat is just really easy, and it does help you out. Plus, if you have an artifact that is, for example, green, it is more expensive than upping an artifact that is white, in this case, than a blue. So you can already see the difference in the cost for your artifact. So if you put white artifact like on an early game, you can like literally plus 15 this and it costs you like near to nothing. So if you want to farm early game artifacts, I recommend to go for like B3, B4 and see if you can get like an artifact that has the correct base type that you want. And then maybe also one thing that kind of makes sense. So for example, in this one, there's an accuracy S1. It's not that great, but you know that if there is... Wait, this is a 14 on fire. That's weird as hell. But if you see that, for example, let's say we want to win damage on dark. If I up this right now, it will 100% roll in the damage by dark. So if you get the perfect line on that artifact, or you have just 2 lines, it's very easy to roll in the correct line. You don't need that many artifacts. Wouldn't focus on that too much, but that is something to progress in at a later moment. But yeah, for now, we have a pretty solid, easy to clear Seth Tattoo Melia with a Ver team. And Vert looks pretty strange in here, but literally it doesn't die. It just works. Like even if he does die, he probably dies at the boss stage, and it just clears the dungeon very fast. So fastest run that I got on this so far was about, let me check, I think like below a minute already. So we need below a minute average. That's of course what I'm aiming for. But already having below a minute within like 9 days, that's pretty impressive. And as you can see, I pretty much didn't farm any of the other stuff that much yet. So I actually played a lot of stuff on auto. I didn't go like super hardcore, manualing all kinds of things left, right, center. No, I actually played like a lot of stuff just on auto. So with just autoing, and I didn't play this at all times that I was able to play this. I was actually slacking on a bunch of things. So sure, is this pretty fast progression? Yes, it is. Are you expected to have this fast progression if you make a new account? No, it's still kind of rushed. But it is not that hard to get an account up and running to do giants within like, let's say, arguably like 2 weeks, 3 weeks, something like that. Another thing that's pretty important if you want to progress early, which is very useful, and I think it is bought from here, which is the Dimension Hole energy. The main reason that you want to buy this is because you have quite some crystals you get from the achievements, so you can actually miss some of the crystals. Wouldn't start summoning on them, because summoning is not direct progression if you don't get anything useful. But your Dimensional Hole energy, every time you buy 10, you buy 20 hours of faster progression technically. Because any Dimensional Hole energy is 2 hours of recharge time. You buy 10, you buy 120 crystals, or 420 crystals, you buy 20 hours, which is pretty nice. I do recommend to do that early until you have your dungeon teams running, and then you can decide like, okay, do I actually want to still do this, or do I have the teams like that I want to run with right now and I don't need them anymore? So for those kind of things, it's pretty chill to actually add in all of. Then on the final notes, other teams that I have seen being used is Pheromos is pretty good right now. I didn't go for Pheromos on my account because I actually went straight for the Fire Panda. But going for Pheromos is actually pretty nice for a Giants team. Going for Pheromos, for example, you go in Pheromos, you go in Lauren, you go in a Fren, and then I think they go for a Crow plus a Melia. And that is a team that can already clear Drag or Giants 12 pretty fast as well. So instead of going for Set and Tatu for 2As, you go for a Crow 2A. And that is something that can pretty easily clear this as well. It is a different strategy, definitely. It is slightly slower than this team, but it is easier to build. You can probably build it. If you go like super fast for that team, you can probably build that team in like 6 or 7 days. And you're probably running like 130, 140 minute average, which is pretty interesting as well. But the moment you want to speed that up, you need pretty decent runes-ish to improve that. Whereas this team, you pretty much don't have rune requirements for this. It's just dots and outspeeding and being slightly tanky. This team is, I would say, it's more of a jump in progression. The moment you don't have it, your progression is somewhat pretty much slower than the other team. But the moment you start having it, your progression immediately jumps. And then it kind of stagnates for a while because I can put like way higher damage runes on this team, but it's not going to be actually faster. I'm going to have to farm this for quite a while to actually get towards like useful runes, but also a useful unit to probably replace this. I would say Lucian is probably the best replacement, but it will take quite a while for a Lucian to get on track where I would say like, okay, this is a solid enough Lucian. Or I could say, hey, I can work with this and clear things, but I might find another unit to replace it. So yeah, that's my update for this series. I will still be farming this. The rune management that I really disliked last time that I had to do this is a lot easier right now because you can just say like, okay, up like 10 runes and that kind of stuff immediately. And with that, it's just very easy to keep track of your runes, upgrade the runes and that kind of stuff. So it's very chill to just farm this on the background. This team has not lost a single time. And I've been running it for like pretty much the whole day right now. So that's just super chill. So if you want to see more on this account, let me know that in the comments. Like this video, subscribe to the channel, and see you on in the next one.